Hello everybody and welcome back to the 52nd episode of Extreme Evocast, an all-purpose Pokemon podcast where we talk about news, trivia, and everything related to Pokemon. You're probably wondering why I mixed it up in the beginning of this episode and said hello instead of greetings. Well, I am doing my best impression of the Pokemon Company because, wow, did they sure mix things up this time. If you are not living under a rock, you should probably know that they revealed, two new games for us, starving, famined Pokemon fans. Diamond and Pearl Remakes, finally, and a Diamond and Pearl prequel, sort of new game, new mechanics, new everything. Pokemon Legends Arceus. We will talk about that in the future. I just want to say, what a great Pokemon week, Pokemon day. Of course, this episode is coming out after the fact, and boy, howdy, have I been very anxiously awaiting the opportunity to talk about the Pokemon Day festivities and everything that we saw. So, before we get into that, I hope you're excited to hear my opinions, hear me talk about, sort of round out everything that we heard. I know it was a lot of information. See, it was a lot of information, but at the same time, it didn't feel like a lot of information because it was only two things, like three things. I'm pretty sure they did like new Pokemon Snap and then the two games, but compared to like Nintendo Directs, that's nothing. I think people would be super upset if they revealed like two games and like information on a game that's coming out soon in a Nintendo Direct. But of course, it is just Pokemon, and honestly, way more than I think anybody was expecting. But of course, like I said, before we get into that, let's do a little bit of news. Actually, there's no news about the trilogy, the most common three games that we talk about: Pokemon Go, Cafe Mix, and Masters EX. In fact, it's only news that isn't that. So some exciting things. First of all, the Post Malone concert was a thing. Not necessarily news in itself because we knew that was coming. But I will maybe be talking about that in the future. I'm not sure I'm definitely not going to talk about it today, but I'm not even 100% set on whether or not I want to talk about it in like a full episode because, I mean, it was fine. It was good. That's all I'll say. It was the sort of effects and the actual concert itself, the Pokemon in the background are really cool. I'm not really one to enjoy Post Malone's music, but it was very well put together and just looked really good. But maybe in the future I can go into the specific details about the concert. Not that I'm going to do like an entire frame by frame discussion like I did the 25 years of Pokemon video. But maybe in the future if I'm feeling it. But we got way more than enough things to talk about today. And with that, moving on, there is a new Japanese trading card game set, Matchless Fighter, which is the sort of continued series of the battle styles, sort of thing. The battle styles trading card set where it's like Urshifu the different styles of Urshifu. Sort of every card has their own double set to it, and this one is the Isle of Armor, sort of releasing things for the Isle of Armor. No information yet if we're going to be getting it in the Americas or not, but it is sort of announced for Japan. So we're getting more of the battle styles trading card game with Isle of Armor Pokemon, so pretty cool. And lastly, there's, like I said, there's really not that much to say today, other than the two main things. Jumping right into it today. The new Pokemon Snap trailer. Not really anything I would say is super worth talking about. It's just sort of more gameplay, some introductions to how certain things work. I might go over it another time, but we don't really have the time today. If you haven't seen that, go give it a watch. That was in the Pokemon Presents. So if you're aware of the 2 new games, I don't know how you missed that, but maybe you skipped over it. Maybe you caught it later and didn't. Your hype for the Diamond and Pearl remakes was too good, and you decided to skip over it. Whatever it may be, go give it a watch. We got some new sort of gameplay trailers, new sort of mechanics in the game, and some new exciting things for new Pokemon Snap coming out soon, way sooner than I expected, or than I sort of thought. I'm very excited for it. So I assume that game is going to sort of hold us off until until the release of the new Diamond and Pearl games. And with that, I mean, that's it. That's like, yes, there's some updates on Pokemon Go and some of the other games, sort of coming out with some new things, updates, events in Pokemon Go, things like that. But they're not really worth talking about when we have such exciting things to say today. Before we do move on, though, I do want to say, sort of like rounding up the Pokemon Presents, no Pokemon Quest action, which is something I was personally a little disappointed in. You know that those games are my favorite. And, if you listened to last episode, you know that we sort of had some news, some new things coming to Pokemon Quest with the Chinese release. So I was hoping maybe there would be, some kind of DLC or whatever, but to no avail. Unfortunately, all we got was some stinking Diamond and Pearl remakes, which we are going to talk about right after today's first segment. You know it well, the one we always talk about first. Everybody's favorite segment, where we talk about a random Pokemon every episode, random Pokemon of the week. And today's Pokemon on the chopping block is, if I can get the number up, if you'd like to guess what it is, number 830. It's a very recent one. It's Eldegoss. Eldegoss is a grass-type Pokemon introduced in Generation 8. I'm pretty sure one of the first Generation 8 Pokemon that we've had on Random Pokemon of the Week, just sort of, as luck would have it. It evolves from Gossifleur starting at level 20. Eldegoss is the Cotton Bloom Pokemon. It is just a pure grass type. It has Cotton Down or Regenerator and Effect Spore as its hidden ability. With a 50-50 male-female ratio, it is 1 foot 8 inches or 0.5 meters and 5.5 pounds or 2.5 kilograms. Very small, very light, as to be expected from a Pokemon that literally flies through the air with its giant cotton head. So Eldegoss is kind of an interesting Pokemon because it's sort of just the basic grass type that we got this generation. Gossifleur and Eldegoss are, if I'm being honest with you, not really that interesting. They're kind of just grass type Pokemon. I wouldn't say they necessarily bring anything new to the table, but they are interesting. Their designs are very good. Eldegoss specifically, I actually think is a really, really solid design, like genuinely. I was sort of taking a look at this thing after, having to talk about it on this episode. It's pretty cool. I really enjoy it. And actually, we're going to sort of skip forward here and talk about its shiny form because, wow, what a good shiny. Seriously, if you I'm looking at Bulbapedia right now. Bulbapedia doesn't even have the Gen 8 shinies on there yet. All the sort of sprites like it does with every other Pokemon. I don't think they have any of the Gen 8 sprites yet, but looking at Cerebi for its shiny form, and wow, it's really good. It's a really, really good shiny. The green, so instead of going from this yellow green and yellow and green color palette, it's like a pinky salmon with a pink and a dark purple. It's so pleasing to the eye, and with the yellow of its face, such a good shiny form. Honestly, really, really, really good. I didn't know this shiny was even that good, and also looking at Gossifleur's, it's also really good. not going to talk about, though, in case we get Goss over later. I don't want to spoil anything, but Degas is just magnificent, if I'm being 100% honest with you. And honestly, is going to be a very solid 9 out of 10 for me. So with the very little information we have about Degas, because it sort of just came out, we have no Smogon competitive viability-ness to it. It is both untiered and also no movesets or descriptions about it. So that is a bust. We're not talking about it competitively. The only thing we really have to go with for is the Pokedex entries. So for Sword and Shield, for Sword specifically, the seeds attached to its cotton fluff are full of nutrients. It spreads them on the wind so that the plants and other Pokemon can benefit from them. And in Shield, the cotton on its head of this Pokemon can be spun into a glossy, gorgeous yarn. A Galar regional specialty. That's kind of rude. I mean, I hope it doesn't hurt it. I hope it can grow back. I mean, it is a plant, but, it's a cotton plant. Hopefully it doesn't hurt it too much. That would be kind of cruel. But I can imagine that it is very, very good for clothes. Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's really it. We don't really have anything else to talk about with Gossifleur. Like I said, there's no Smogon, there's no information, no mystery dungeon, no trivia, literally no trivia. Eldegoss is, Eldegoss is cotton. It's based on cotton. Eldegoss is a combination of elder and Gossypium, which is the genus of cotton plants, or gossamer, which is something light or delicate. That's pretty much it. Eldegoss, ladies and gentlemen. All right. The moment you've all been waiting for, and subsequently, the moment nobody was waiting for. I think we're going to talk about the Diamond and Pearl remakes first, just because they sort of, if I was listening to this before I even knew what Legends was, and I heard myself say that the Diamond and Pearl remakes are the least interesting parts of what we have to talk about today, I would think I was insane. But no, I mean, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl is a thing. And if I'm being 100% honest with you, a little bit lackluster. Okay, hear me out. I have seen nothing but positive responses, mostly, for the Diamond and Pearl remakes. I mean, this is what everybody has been waiting for since Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, Diamond and Pearl, Diamond and Pearl fans have been waiting for a remake for the longest time, and we're getting one, finally. It's no longer just a meme. It's no longer just a dream. It's a reality. But the caveat is that there is a lot of complaining, and rightfully so in my opinion, of the art style. The style of the game is very, very chibi, almost completely faithful to the original series. And that is sort of a theme of these games, I think, is faithfulness. The faithfulness of these games is a little bit of a hindrance, I think, in its design. If you haven't seen the trailer for it, the games are very chibi. The world is pretty much just a 3D recreation of the original games. No liberties taken, almost none, other than the battles. The Pokemon models, things like that look fine. They look good. They look like updated versions of the Sword and Shield models. There's renders of the Pokemon and the trainers who are sort of, modern Pokemon designed, but sort of taken into the Sinnoh art style, which everyone loves. It's just the overworld is very, very, very chibi, and I don't necessarily think that this is going to be a huge problem. I mean, it's a remake. It is essentially a remade version of the original games, which, again, they're allowed to be faithful. Faithfulness, I think, is important when you're doing a remake, but like I said before, maybe sometimes being too faithful can be a problem. I mean, other than that, I am so very excited. We've seen many things. We've seen Dawn, we've seen Lucas, we've seen a lot of here. I'm actually going to look at the screenshots of it, sort of go through what we've seen. We've seen, the backgrounds, the trainers. The art style is very, 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 very chibi. And actually looking at it now, it does seem to be a little bit higher quality than what I originally thought when I was sort of looking through it. The games look really good. Like, they look beautiful when compared to the original games. It's very obviously a Switch remake of the game, but the chibi characters, I think, is the biggest problem. Other than that, it looks absolutely amazing, and I'm literally so excited. Obviously, there's sort of, like, looking at this screenshot of Dawn and Professor Rowan in the distance at the lake. I forget what the lake is called in the beginning of the game. Obviously, there's distance blur, there's like camera focus blur, there's effects, there's shadows, there's lighting effects, there's daytime and nighttime, it seems, judging by the statue of the Dialga Palkia statue in Eterna City. There are, the backgrounds look beautiful, the Pokemon models look beautiful, the game looks really good. It's just the chibi trainers, I think, is sort of the biggest problem that people are having with the games. And like I said, rightfully so. I'm kind of just rambling here. I don't really know what else to say. I wish I had more to say. Trust me. There's flaws, but other than that, the game looks beautiful, and I'm hoping and predicting that, for me at least, the art style is going to grow on people and grow on me. I'm sure it's going to grow on me. People were skeptical of the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee art style, though maybe not to this extreme. And I've definitely seen a lot of good things, a lot of funny art, a lot of people praising the art style, the chibiness of the trainers, how they think it's cute, it reflects the original games, stuff like that. Everyone's going to have their own opinions. But whether or not you think the art style is ugly or cute or a good direction, the biggest takeaway that we can take from this is that Diamond and Pearl remakes are happening, and they look pretty damn good. They're being made by another company, which is sort of the biggest topic that I wanted to talk about when talking about these games. The Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, which is a name that I'm not used to quite yet. I keep having to relook at my notes to see what they're actually called, because I keep forgetting what the prefixes on the names are. But like, it's made by a different company, and I think that is a brilliant idea when taken into account with the legend games that are, or legend game that is coming out alongside it, in the future, but sort of alongside it, because, spoiler alert, Legends looks absolutely gorgeous and looks like an amazing game. But leaving the remakes to another company, where the company itself can try new things, do their own thing, do what they do best, while Game Freak itself experiments on new mediums, new games, new ideas, new mechanics, a la Pokemon Legends. I think that is a wonderful idea, a genius idea, because it allows Game Freak to expand themselves. Sword and Shield, looking back, I know what I've said about Pokemon Sword and Shield in the past and how I was a little bit overly positive about it. I do love those games, but comparing them to Pokemon Legends, at least even just when the little bit of gameplay trailer that we've seen so far, Sword and Shield is a little bit lackluster and is already dated somehow, despite coming out 2 years ago. I genuinely think that Game Freak is moving in a new direction, and it is a wonderful direction. I think that the path that Game Freak is taking with Legends and leaving the remakes to another company is going to be brilliant. Not to say that we won't be getting more main series games, and I'm hoping that the main series games is a step up from Pokemon Sword and Shield and reflects the art style choices and the beauty of Pokemon Legends, and just sort of expands. And a lot of people were so skeptical about the growth of Game Freak, saying that and even I made a whole episode about it, upset with Game Freak that they're unwilling to grow, unwilling to take risks. And I think that Pokemon Legends essentially disproves that Game Freak is not willing to take risks, and that Game Freak can and will make beautiful and new Pokemon games. With Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl out of the topic for today, we can finally go on to Pokemon Legends, which, like I just sort of talked up a lot, is the new big sort of risk take that Pokemon is taking. Game Freak is taking, excuse me. They are making something new. They're making something that we've never seen before in terms of Pokemon games, and I and 99% of the rest of the Pokemon community is all for it. First of all, if you're not aware of these new games, they are we haven't really seen that much. In fact, I think we've seen a little bit, though. I think we've seen a little bit more of Legends than we have Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. But we have seen for right now that the games are going to be a free roam open world game with your player character walks around this beautiful world. Obviously, Pokemon have sort of gone past the tile based movement since partially X and Y, with the roller skates and the bike and stuff, but with Sun and Moon, no more tile based movement. That is done. But this is taking it to a next level. This is open world. This is completely free reign on the landscape, hills, like very, very volumetric and very, very diverse terrain as far as we've seen. Very akin to the wild area, which is going to be a very common sort of thing that I say today, that I believe that the wild area and Pokemon Sword and Shield was a testing grounds for Pokemon Legends. The wild area in particular, having Pokemon be outside of the in the overworld, having the wild area be just sort of a free roam area where Pokemon can roam free, I think was getting them ready for Pokemon Legends. And even then, I even think Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was a testing for Pokemon Legends, because they were experimenting with having Pokemon out in the open, that's whole sort of thing, testing the waters for Pokemon on the Switch. Sword and Shield expanded on that, and now we're getting Pokemon Legends, which is a open world, presumably free roam, very, very high dynamic Pokemon game, which, oh my god, I'm so excited. I've been sort of keeping my serious face on for a while, but oh my god, I literally can't stop thinking about how excited I am. Like, all of the lore things aside, this new step is so important in Pokemon's lifespan. It's incredibly diverse. It's incredibly new. It's incredibly game-changing, quite literally. And I am so excited to see where this takes us, even after the fact. I'm thinking after Pokemon Legends. Where is this going to lead for the future of Pokemon? Who knows? I guess we'll have to see how Pokemon Legends pans out first. So I'd sort of like to take a second before we really go into the meat of the game to talk about just the concept of an open world Pokemon game. It's something that people have been wanting for ever since Pokemon came out, and presumably, maybe not to the extent that we are hoping. We are finally getting an open world Pokemon game. Presumably, maybe, hopefully, with, RPG style, Breath of the Wild style, crafting mechanics even, maybe, movement options. There's rolling, like we saw in one of the trailers. You can throw Pokeballs at Pokemon outside of battle. You sort of have this free control of of the Pokemon, where they are, where you are, how you're catching them. It's not just, oh, you run into them to go into a battle, you catch them outside a battle, and then you walk around and find another one. It's no, you walk around, you follow these Pokemon around, you throw the ball when the time is right. It's a game changer. And oh my god, I'm so excited. I cannot contain myself, but I will for the sake of this podcast. Battles, by the way, speaking of battles, are now done in the overworld, presumably. Sort of a smooth transition, seamless transition between battle and overworld, as far as I can tell. That might be wrong. It's sort of just a theory at this point, but judging by what we've seen so far, I think that's going to be the case, where, you sort of run into a Pokemon, the scene doesn't change. You're still in the same spot as you were before. You can still move around inside of a battle, but you're still controlling a Pokemon, and your Pokemon are battling as normal in any other Pokemon game. We've seen that Pokemon Pokemon battles still work the same. Moves have types, they have PP, Pokemon still battle each other, probably in turn-based combat. Though there have been a few rumors that it's going to be sort of a Final Fantasy style ATP gauge, where you sort of attack, not necessarily turn-based, but just sort of as time goes on, and not one after each other, sort of in that style. If you've ever played Final Fantasy, you know what I'm talking about. Sort of a pseudo turn-based where you still choose commands, but the enemy can attack you whenever they want. And I think I would be okay with that. I've sort of been skeptical of Pokemon changing the formula, but now that it is a possibility, I'm all for it. I think that having sort of an ATP gauge situation would be wonderfully new. It would be a great take on the series. Obviously these are just rumors. This isn't anything concrete right now. Just sort of theory crafting. But this new way of playing playing Pokemon is going to be wonderful. A little bit more about the lore now. The game is based on the Sinnoh sort of lore, where it's sort of a proto Sinnoh game, where it's in Diamond and Pearl there were books, there were stories of Pokemon before they were domesticated. Pokemon lived alongside humans, they ate dinner with them, they free roamed before trainers even existed, before people had the capacity to capture them. Pokemon and humans lived alongside each other. And I presume, judging by the trailer, that this is going to be sort of a first step in the Sinnoh region of you getting the first Pokedex, the first Pokeballs, and becoming one of, if not the first, Pokemon trainer. And that is wonderfully exciting. We have never gotten a backstory game for Pokemon. We're getting backstory on the first trainers. We're getting backstory on Sinnoh. We're getting backstory on some of the legendaries, which I'll talk about in a second. And that is so important, so good, so exciting. Other than that, we really only know that Rowlet, Oshawott, and Cyndaquil are going to be our starters, sort of teased by the game as like, oh, these Pokemon are brought over from other regions. There's no Sinnoh starters yet because there's no trainers. So these Pokemon are sort of, the professor sort of gives you these Pokemon as like hey, I got these Pokemon from other regions, choose one. And then go out and become the first Pokemon trainer. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I'm looking at the screenshots right now, and I think I covered everything. Obviously, we're gonna get so much more news. We're gonna get so much more information, leaks, theories, everything like that. And the game has lore too. Sort of aside from the lore that we've seen, being the first trainer, it hinted at. The whole namesake of the game is Pokemon Legends Arceus. So presumably we're going to be getting some information on Arceus and, the lore behind the god of all Pokemon, which I'm so happy for, because Arceus was always sort of designated as you know, it's a mythical Pokemon. Here's it from an event. Yeah, I created all the Pokemon, but that's it. You know, that's sort of all we got, other than maybe the movie. But now we're finally getting story about it. We're getting backstory. Like I said, Pokemon backstory. I've never considered like a Pokemon prequel, but we are. We're getting story, a story-based Pokemon game focused on the lore of the game. Like, obviously, all Pokemon is story-based, but we're getting a game that expands on the universe, which is something that I've never really, I didn't know that I wanted it. And now that we're getting it, I couldn't be happier. I guess what I'm trying to say here is to sort of sum up my feelings before we, I guess, end the episode. I mean, this episode is not very long, as far as I can tell. Because if I'm being honest, we didn't really get that much information. We sort of just got the name, we got a little bit of gameplay, some screenshots, and that's just about it. But to sort of sum up my thoughts about these games, Pokemon Legends being a new game is very, very important. A decision by Game Freak to let another company take hold of the remakes for Diamond and Pearl and focus on Pokemon Legends, which is innovative in almost every way. Lore, explaining past Pokemon, giving us backstory, new mechanics, open world, outside battle catching, seamless transitions into battle, battles that sort of transition into the overworld, things like that. I forgot to say, there was a theory that I apologize for not knowing where it came from, but there was a theory that the way that it works in Legends is that it's like if your Pokemon go down, the opposing Pokemon can attack you, the trainer, and battles will end if you take enough damage. Which I don't know if that's true. I don't think we really think we have any evidence to support it, but it is an interesting thought. But anyway, the innovations that this game is making, lore, open world, rolling, like all that kind of stuff that sort of fits into that package of new and innovative, just makes me so excited for the future of Pokemon. And I think, like I said before, proves Game Freak wrong. Proves the people who were overly critical wrong, that Game Freak can't make something beautiful, or they can make something beautiful. They can make something beautiful. They can make something new. It's just gonna take them a while, which is unfortunate, but now we have the evidence that it's coming, and we have the praise I think that Game Freak deserves for showing us and developing just a new, fresh game for hopefully everybody to enjoy. People who love Sinnoh specifically for the story, people who are a fan of Pokemon for whatever it is. If it's a Pokemon game, they'll play it. People who are maybe not interested in the series because of its turn-based thing, and maybe will be attracted by its kind of open world, this new formula that is sort of akin to other games. Breath of the Wild, for example, a lot of people are comparing it to. And also just that the game looks goddamn gorgeous. Excuse my French. The game looks beautiful from what we've seen so far. The areas are gorgeous. The landscapes are beautiful. The lighting is absolutely wonderful. And I mean, this is just a trailer of things to come. It's probably going to look even better than that. Yes, I've seen my fair share of people complaining about it. Sort of bashing on the art style and the low quality, some things that are low quality, but you have to remember it's just a trailer. Pokemon Sword and Shield got better as time went on, but their criticisms are definitely valid. That being said, to wrap things up, this absolutely beautiful game being taken full force by Game Freak while another company handles the remakes of Diamond and Pearl is a genius idea, and something that just rejuvenates. So I wasn't even feeling bad about Pokemon, and it still rejuvenated me. It just gave me a second rush of adrenaline for loving these series, loving these games, and just getting so excited for Pokemon Legends. I would talk about more if I could. We don't really have that much information. You know, I could continue going about about why this means so much, why it's important. You know, sort of nitpick my way through the very fine details of the trailers that we've gotten so far. But I won't, you know, to sort of give myself kind of a break and to spare maybe getting out too much excitement out of the way. I wanted to give just sort of an overview of these trailers, of these releases, and go over sort of my thoughts about just the reveal of the games. You know, we can go into the nitty gritty of the details later. Of some of the, you know, the environmental details of Legends, or the, you know, the references in Brilliant Pearl or Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl that we've seen so far. But I think it's a good start to just kind of get my thoughts out there about what I think about the games from what we've seen, and sort of just the cultural impact that the reveal of these games have had. So, you know, I mean, this episode is a little bit shorter than usual, and I think that that's okay. But, of course, before we end today's episode, we have to do the final segment of today, the segment that everybody loves, everyone's favorite segment, where we talk about a random move every episode, Move Tutor. And today's move on the chopping block is number 109, Confuse Ray, which is a non-damaging Ghost-type move introduced in Generation 1. It is a Ghost-type move. It is a status move. It has a PP of 10, max 16, doesn't have any power, and an accuracy of 100%. Confuse Ray causes the target to become confused. Who would have guessed? If powered up by Ghostium Z into Z Confuse Ray, the user's special attack is raised by 1 stage. Yeah, I mean, for such an iconic move, there really isn't that much to say. Confuse Ray is, in fact, the only Ghost-type move capable of inflicting confusion, if you didn't know that, which is the sole line of trivia on the page for Confuse Ray. But we do have a little bit of maybe like, you know, some Pokedex entries or some descriptions to go on. A sinister flash of light that makes the target confused. A special Ghost-type technique. That was in Stadium and Stadium 2, and then in Gold, Silver, Crystal, it just says a move that causes confusion. And in Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, it was changed to a sinister ray that confuses the foe. And then in every single game afterwards, it says the target is exposed to a sinister ray that triggers confusion. That's it. Well, with Confuse Ray out of the way, hopefully you're not too confused about what Pokemon is coming to. And I hope that this episode sort of got everyone in the loop about the new games that are coming out. If you couldn't watch the trailers, I totally recommend that you do so right now. I imagine that I will be doing nothing but talking about these games in the future. But for now, that was sort of yours and my introduction to getting a load of, you know, talking about Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl and Pokemon Legends Arceus. I hope you're excited because goddamn I am too. New games. This is big. You know, we started this podcast with the release of Pokemon Sword and Shield, and we're kind of going into a new era here with the next generation, quite literally, of Pokemon games. And with that, I hope you all have a wonderful day. I hope you're looking forward to next episode, and I thank you all so much for listening. I'll see you next time. Bye.